On this episode of Shop Talk, we're going to be talking about redeeming something of value. Shalom Friends, Robert Gottselig here with the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry, and I'm with again here fellow colleague John Plants, and we're filming live on location at Ed's Vintage Garage just outside of Winnipeg. And here we're looking at this amazing 1947 Ford half-ton, and it's actually Ed's shop truck. And we're going to get Ed to come and tell us all about it. Ed?
Yeah, it's sure good to be here, Ed.
Good day.
Yeah.
Hey, Ed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So Ed, tell us about this. Tell us about your ride. I mean, I can't wait to hear it. Go for a ride. I can't wait for you to tell us about it.
Okay, this is my shop truck I've been building since 13 when I bought it actually at an auction sale just as a stock half ton, and I decided to build it this way. And this is the body is the way I found it. But the rest is all I've made everything. The suspension, it's on air ride. It's got a newer 4.8 LS engine, automatic transmission with four-wheel disc brakes, power disc brakes, all the latest electronics that are available.
It's performing better than it did in 1947.
Oh yeah, I actually got to take the previous owner for a ride just the other day, and he was amazed how different it was from when he had it.
Yes.
So. Yeah, it's very much different, but the combination of the old and the new is what I'm after. And
so you've chose to leave the body this way and
yeah,
and just outfit it with all new powertrain and suspension, and I love it.
I'm not a paint and body guy, so to go to that level, it costs more than what I've got in this truck, and
almost we were talking earlier, almost more than half of what it usually costs to build a ride, if you including all your new powertrain. To do it decently. Right. Yeah. Which is getting harder and harder to find people to do good work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I've known Ed for a long time, and I've known that Ed's been a mechanic, and he's done lots of repairs and restoring, cars and vehicles. And Ed, I just wanted to know why you picked this one. Like, what was the value and worth that you saw as you wanted to restore this vehicle?
Well, I'm much into old trucks and old farm trucks especially, and when you paint them and that, you erase the history. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people really resonate with the old trucks they have on their farm and what do we do with them, and they have a lot of history for these people of the next generation. And they grew up driving these things, learning how to drive them when they were a kid, and that kind of thing. So it appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah. And it does have a lot of value, and even now we see the value of, as it's being restored and has been restored, is that you put a lot of effort and a lot of time into it, to bring it to that place.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Ed, are you running? You're running a fuel cell in the box? Is that where you?
Yeah. I'll just
take us around. Show us around.
All the suspension and that I've made. It's got a tank in the back. Originally they had it under the seat. The air ride, you can see the four link bars that I made, and each wheel has a level sensor for the air ride to keep it at the right height.
Well, that's really amazing what you've did back here, just right under the truck bed here. You can access your fuel cell, and you can do some maintenance work if you have to.
Yeah, that's right. This bed comes off easy. Yeah.
Well, Ed, I'd love to see the interior.
Sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I've tried to keep it kind of original 47 Ford, but with all the modern conveniences like those dice or Bluetooth, the rear view mirror becomes a backup camera when you put it in reverse. It's got the original pedals, except I made them work with the brake system and the throttle. The dash is a very modern electronic dash. It's got tachometer and kilometers in it. The park neutral is in the dash, the little readouts. It's got a clock and outside air temperature, compass, all in it.
Yeah, nice and modernized.
Yeah.
And your door panels, I see that, those are looking like a work of art that somebody did.
Yeah, that was fun. I had some copper sheeting and I played around with it, but I tried to make it look like upholstery, but it's just metal. And these trucks just had a plain metal thing, so I'd like to make a little bit. So anyways, then the windows are power windows. These are just original cranks, but they're just switches.
Well, and I love how you did. You've kind of kept a theme in here as well. I'm looking at the holes on the bottom of the seat there. I'm looking in the kick panels.
Yeah.
You've done the same, and then you've done the same over here with your exhaust. And you kind of have a theme going, and I think that looks really, really, really cool.
Yeah, I actually drilled 72 holes in this truck on the panels.
And so for transmission, what are you running for a transmission?
4L80, a GM. So it's got the new shifter, like a low car shifter, and this truck had a floor shifter originally.
Yeah. And so it's looking like a standard.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as you were saying earlier, that the window crank there, if the folks can see on the camera, that's actually not a manual crank. That's
right.
It's operating a switch for electric windows, and of course, you're running air and as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Ed, I see you got the cup holders.
Yeah.
From one of my favorite places to go there, Tim Hortons.
Yeah. This truck, back in '47, it had two options. That was a sliding rear window, and that's the original one. And they came stock with just one wiper. This one had two wipers, so it was fully optioned out.
Wow. Well, I think we ought to take this for a ride. What do you think?
Sure, we can do that.
All right, here we go. That goes a little faster than what it did in 47.
Oh yeah, it had a flat MP8 standard transmission, but it wasn't running too bad for an old truck.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks, Ed, once again for taking the time to share with us your ride and what you kind of do here just right outside of Winnipeg. And Ed does this for a living, so he used to fix cars, any kind of car, but now he's kind of specialized into this kind of work here. So Ed, how can people get a hold of you if they're looking for some work to be done?
Well, they can just get me on my cell phone. It's 204-471-5835. That's good enough. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Ed.
Yeah.
And John, you noticed, what did you notice on those coil covers?
Well, that he had the word redeemed, and that's something that we're very much involved in, trying to encourage people and to help repair their lives and restore them, because they have a value and a worth to them, just like your truck.
Yeah.
And I think you have a scripture reference for us, and you wanted to share a little bit about the word redeemed.
I do. Lamentations 3 verse 58 says, O Lord, thou hast pleaded the cause of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. And as you can see on my truck, I call it redeemed for the reason that obviously, I took it from the junkyard and put new life into it. But much more important is our souls. And I want to be able to share about my redemption and how Christ has redeemed me through his blood. And that's the important part.
That's wonderful. I mean, and that's kind of what Cruizin for Zion, the tour, was all about. Of course, it got canceled here in 2020, but pray with us, friends, because Lord willing, we're going to be doing that in July of 2021. And that's what we're doing. We're going to be
Yeah.
using a restored classic car. In this case, we're going to be using a 68 Chevelle. We're going to be, meeting people on the streets, and sharing with them a biblical message of restoration, just exactly
Yes.
like Ed's doing wherever he goes.
Yeah.
That reminds me of another verse here found in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 12. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundation of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of the path to dwell in. And as I ponder this old car, a 1947 Ford, it had value and worth, as we've already mentioned, but also that you took it and you put parts to it and you fixed it. And that's what God's as you talked about a soul. God is very much interested in repairing our soul and getting us back on the right path. And as he was calling Israel, and they were known as the Friends of Israel, as he's calling Israel to come back, to those paths, God has set a way. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh, unto it unless you come through him."
Yeah, the only way.
The only way.
Yeah.
The only way. Well, thanks, Ed, so much for that. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add that if you have any questions about my truck or about my life, about redemption, feel free to call me.
Well, thanks, Ed, and thanks, John, for this Bible moment. And so, friends, thanks for joining us on this episode. And until next time, this has been Shop Talk with the Friends of Israel Gospel Ministry.